Welcome, everyone, to another episode of The Bottom of the Shoe. I'm Ryder, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Hannah. How's it going, Hannah?
Hey, Ryder, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I'm excited for today's episode. We've got some interesting topics to discuss.
Absolutely. So, what's on the agenda today?
Well, we've got two fascinating topics for our listeners. First, we're going to dive into the world of unusual travel destinations. And then, we'll be sharing some personal stories of overcoming fear. So, sit back, relax, and join us on this journey.
Let's kick things off with our first topic, unusual travel destinations. Hannah, sometimes it's those offbeat places that provide the most memorable experiences.
That's so true, Ryder. I recently came across a place that's on my bucket list, the Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia. It's the world's largest salt flat, and it creates a stunning mirror effect when it rains.
That sounds amazing. I'd love to see that. Speaking of unusual destinations, one place that has always intrigued me is the Door to Hell in Turkmenistan. It's a massive crater of fire that's been burning for decades. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Wow, the Door to Hell. That's quite the name. Another place that's on my radar is Iceland's Blue Lagoon. It's a geothermal spa that's surrounded by a rugged volcanic landscape. The water's a beautiful milky blue, and it's incredibly relaxing.
Iceland has some stunning natural wonders, no doubt, and on that note, how about a more unconventional one, the catacombs of Paris? They're filled with the remains of more than 6 million people. It's spooky, eerie, and definitely unique.
Jenkins, that's definitely not for the faint of heart. But you know what, Ryder? These unusual destinations remind us that there's so much more to explore beyond the typical tourist spots.
Absolutely. So, listeners, if you have a question you'd like us to discuss, send one in the Spotify Q&A and we might feature it in a future episode.
All right. Now it's time for the second half of our show, where we talk about personal stories of overcoming fear. We've received some incredible stories from our listeners.
Let's get started with a story from our listener, Sarah. She had a fear of public speaking, and her job required her to present in front of large audiences.
That's a common fear. Ryder, how did she conquer it?
Sarah shared that she started by practicing in front of a mirror, then with a trusted friend. Over time, her confidence grew, and she eventually joined a public speaking club. Now, she not only overcame her fear, but also enjoys speaking in front of an audience.
That's inspiring. It shows that with determination, we can overcome even our most paralyzing fears. Here's a story from Mark, who is terrified of flying. He decided to face his fear head-on by taking a series of short flights and gradually working his way up to longer ones.
It's incredible how incremental steps can help overcome fear. Kudos to Mark. We've also got a story from Jane, who was petrified of water and never learned to swim. She decided to take swimming lessons as an adult and, although it was challenging, she can now enjoy the water without fear.
That's a prime example of how it's never too late to conquer your fears. Speaking of fears, I recall a time when I was terrified of heights. It was paralyzing, but I went ziplining alone. And it was exhilarating sometimes. Confronting your fears can lead to the most incredible experiences.
Absolutely. Hannah, facing our fears often leads to personal growth and unforgettable moments. We hope these stories inspire our listeners to tackle their own fears.
Well, that's a wrap for this episode of The Bottom of the Shoe. We hope you enjoyed exploring unusual travel destinations and hearing stories of courage and fear. Overcoming.
As always, if you have any unique travel destinations you'd like to share or your own stories of conquering fears, come to our headquarters in Chicago, Illinois.
And don't forget to review and rate us on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us.
Thanks for joining us, and remember, sometimes you need to step out of your comfort zone to find the most incredible experiences. Catch you on the shoelace.
Catch ya on the shoelace. This is the outro song for the podcast. Catch ya. catch your emotional list.